So today I'm going to talk about one of Alan Moore's most obscure projects that most people probably have never heard of, which is Big Numbers. Big Numbers was came out in 1990, self-published by Alan Moore and his company Mad Love. I have issues 1 and 2. This was going to be a 12-issue series. Eventually it was going to be compiled into a 500-page graphic novel, and this was apparently something, I guess, near and dear to Alan Moore's heart. He wanted to get away from fiction. I'm getting a lot of this information from Wikipedia, just to let you know. And he wanted to deal with themes of, it says here, shopping and mathematics. So I did read these. I didn't buy them in 1990. I bought them well afterwards because I was intrigued by the idea of it. It was something with fractal and mathematics, and you could see. So if for anyone who doesn't know the art of Bill Sienkiewicz, one of my favorites. He does kind of sometimes semi-photorealistic drawings, and apparently the artwork here was taking a lot of time for him. Bill Sienkiewicz, I remember him doing a lot of work for Marvel Comics, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed his artwork. If he puts the time in. And I'm not saying he's a lazy artist, but sometimes his art wasn't as good because he probably had time limits and stuff. But when he's given enough time, he can really put out some fantastic stuff. So why do I only have 2 issues? Because that's all that was ever produced, was 2 issues. So this is kind of a legendary story, which is that Bill Sienkiewicz just he did not have enough time to devote to this project because of how meticulous his artwork was. So he passed it off to his 19-year-old assistant named Al Columbia. And I'm going to eventually do a whole thing on Al Columbia, because Al Columbia is really a unique artist. And so I think Al Columbia did all the artwork for issue 3, and then maybe issue 4. And Al Columbia is the kind of guy who, he's one of these artists that is very critical of his own work, and apparently he did not like what he produced, so he destroyed it. And that pretty much brought an end to the series. I would have loved to have seen where this was going to go, because I don't really remember the story, but I remember enjoying it. But of course, since you only get for 2 issues, I have no idea where it was going to go. And I don't know why Alan Moore never even put it out in just, say, text form so that we could know where it was going to go. But as far as I know, he just abandoned the project. Once Al Columbia destroyed his artwork, that was pretty much it. And so I want to say that this is maybe Al Columbia's attempt. I don't think all the artwork was destroyed, but it's a couple things are obvious here. If this is Al Columbia, number one, a 19-year-old, he did not have the artistic skills of, I'm pretty sure that is Al Columbia, that did not have the artistic skills of Bill Sienkiewicz. And so you could see here, this is, but I mean, it's kind of unfinished. I would assume it was never published. Al Columbia has a very different style than Bill Sienkiewicz, completely different, but it's pretty clear that he was attempting to emulate Bill Sienkiewicz, because that's not Al Columbia's usual style. So he might have just hated it, said, inferior to Bill Sienkiewicz, and so he destroyed his artwork. And I think as a 19-year-old, it's a little bit difficult to try and match up to a veteran artist. But Al Columbia is a fantastic artist, but his style is completely different. So here in Wikipedia, it says that So Kevin Eastman, I guess his publishing company tried to take it up, but at that point, I think the cost of producing it and the amount of money, the amount of sales just wasn't adding up. And so let's see here. It says Moore weaves mathematics into a narrative of socioeconomic changes wrought by an American corporation's building of a shopping mall in a small traditional English town and the effects of the economic policies of the Margaret Thatcher administration in the 1980s. So that's a bit different. But it was interesting. It was interesting to see, and it was not, I mean, it was fiction, but it was not, no superheroes or fantastic characters. I mean, I'm talking like strange characters, aliens or whatever. He did a lot of work in England and Britain before he came to the United States, and did a lot of like sci-fi and things like that. I'm, these are not in the greatest condition. This is how I received them. So I bet you that probably if you wanted to buy them now, it's probably quite expensive. So I got what I mean, they're not fantastic, but they're certainly readable. And it's an interesting story. Alan Moore is, let's see, how old is Alan Moore at this point? He's getting up there. He's retired from writing. So he's 68. He's, he could have quite a few more years. It would be incredible if he would finish this someday. That would be, of all the projects that he could work on, that would be the one I'd be most interested in. Although I'm not sure how a story about 1980s would resonate in the 2020s at this point. So, but if you can get these, they are interesting. They are, I think, really good with some fantastic artwork. This is really Bill Sienkiewicz at his best. But you only get 2 issues because they never produced more. There was a magazine called Submedia that produced or printed 10 pages from issue 3, which I assume were done by Al Columbia. I don't have that Submedia, so at that point, I did kind of look it up. They had one for sale on Amazon for $70. I wasn't going to pay that much, and it's just more of a tease. Then it would be almost. I almost prefer not to read it because it's pointless at this time. But I'm also going to do later a video on Al Columbia because Al Columbia is really something else. He is. If you've never seen Al Columbia, and Al Columbia, to collect the stuff he's done, it was a hell of a challenge for me because he has not produced a lot of stuff. His stuff is insane, absolutely insane. And maybe someday I'll do a video on the most insane writers out there, comic writers. But he's definitely up there in the top 2 or 3. So anyway, that is Big Numbers by Alan Moore.